I'm really from Texas. I met and married my old lady all in the same day. Night we went home together. I said, honey, I'm from Texas, and where I comes from, everything grows big. When we woke up the next morning, we both got up and started putting on our clothes at the same time. I touched on her shoulders and said, pardon me, honey, but tell me, what part of Texas are you from? She's nice, though. She's really nice, though, really. And she has some of the baddest dreams. I ain't never seen a woman dream like that woman. She woke up this morning screaming to the top of her voice. Oh, my goodness, Daddy. Oh, Daddy. I grabbed her. I said, honey, what's wrong with you, baby? I said, what's the matter, darling? She said, oh, Daddy, I just had the terriblest dream. I said, what did you dream? She said, Daddy, I just dreamed that I was way up on Niagara Falls, Daddy. And I was looking down at the falls. And I got dizzy. And I started falling down. And some kind gentleman threw me a long rope out, and I caught a hold to the rope, and that's what saved me. I said, yeah, I know, honey. Turn loose the rope now. Let's go back to sleep. Yeah, she's nice. She's really nice, though. No fooling. That next morning when we got up, I got up and got ready to go to work, and she walked me to the door. She said, goodbye, oatmeal. I said, what's wrong with you? My name Leroy. Why you call me oatmeal? She said, because after 3 minutes you were done. She's a good girl, though, really. I like her, though, no fooling. See, it's hard to find a good woman that's going to really get out and help you a whole lot. See, my old lady is the type of woman that really will help me. Got mad at me the other night and told me, Daddy, if you don't quit all that old nasty drinking, I'm going to leave you. And I sure do miss her. Like I said, she's nice. I hated to lose her because, well, they just don't come like her every night. Yeah, she's real nice, though, no fooling. I ain't let nobody drive me out of nothing. Times are too tight. See, people are smart nowadays. Even kids are smart nowadays. I mean, kids are so smart. I was out the other day and I was visiting some schools, and while I was out there, I stopped in one classroom. They had nothing but little old boys in the classroom. Good-looking teacher sitting in front of the classroom. She had her legs all crossed, and she decided she'd get up and go to the board and put a problem on the board. And when she did that, she uncrossed her legs, and little Johnny sitting in the first row said, oh, teacher, your thigh has caught my eye. Teacher said, Johnny, I'm ashamed of you. You get up, take your books, and go home and stay for 30 days. And Johnny had to do so. The teacher continued putting the problem on the board, and while she was doing that, she accidentally broke the chalk and bent over to pick it up, and Willie just grabbed his books and started out the room. Teacher said, Willie, where are you going? Willie said, teacher, after what I just seen, my school days is over. I'm telling you, I ain't never seen so many smart kids. I stopped in another room, like I told you, they separate the boys from the girls. Another room I stopped in, they didn't have nothing but little girls in that room. In this room, the teacher was trying to give these little girls a spelling lesson. She was trying to find one little girl in the classroom that was smart enough to stand up and spell the word Peter. So she called on one little girl, and she said, Margaret, stand up and spell Peter. Margaret stood up and said, P-E-T. Oh, teacher, it's too hard. So she called on another little girl. She said, Betty, stand up and spell Peter. Betty stood up and said, P-E-T-T. Oh, teacher, it's too long. And that was Alice. She'd been holding up her hand. Let me teach her. Let me teach her. Teacher said, Alice, stand up and spell the word Peter. Alice stood up and said, P-E-T-T-R, teacher. Don't come too long, not too hard for me. Anyway they come, I'm ready. Yeah, I'm telling you, kids are smart now. I got some kids my own self. I got two little girls and a little boy. And just the other day, my little girl was sitting out in the front yard. She's out there on the lawn playing with her cat, and a rat ran past in front of the cat, and the cat jumped up and grabbed the rat, threw the rat down, started choking the rat, and squeezing the rat, and the rat broke loose and said, you don't know it, pussy, but you killing me. Fella told me the other day he wanted me to go to a telephone and make a phone call and call up his old lady for him. And he know good and well how long I've been out here on the West Coast, and he knew I hadn't learned to use his telephone. He picked up old Ray the telephone. He gonna show me how to use the telephone. He says, it's very simple, Leroy. Say, for instance, now you want to dial an Adams number. To dial an Adams number, you put your finger in the A-hole. So you understand that? I said, are you kidding? I'm familiar with that one. Say, now, for instance, my number's a prospect number. To dial a prospect number, you put your finger in the P-hole. He said, you got that? I said, sure I got it. He said, now where's the P-hole? I said, there's the P-hole right there. He said, fool, that's the A-hole. I I said, man, I told you in the beginning I know nothing about them hoes. Why you gonna ask me something about dialing them in the beginning? He said, well, Leroy, how can you get mixed up? Look right there. It's very simple. A-hole, P-hole. A-hole, P-hole. I said, well, man, them holes is close, and I went in the wrong hole. I said, well, why don't you get somebody else to do it? I said, I just can't do it. He said, well, look, I'm going to teach you how to do it before you leave here. He said, now, just for instance, now, suppose you want to get an outside number, a long-distance number, Chicago, New York, San Francisco, or someplace like that. I said, well, what do I do to get an outside number? He said, you put your finger in the operator's hole. I said, will she come? He said, fool, are you crazy? Sure she'll come. All you got to do is work your finger gently, backwards and forward, backwards and forward, backwards and forward. Oh, Leroy, she gotta come. Oh, she got to come. But you just be sure you don't go off before she come. Oh, my goodness. What's the matter, baby? What's the matter, honey? What's the trouble? A burglar of a bedroom. How did you just say a burglar of a bedroom? A burglar, honey? Well, baby, tell me, did he get the thing, honey? Baby, did the burglar get the thing? Baby, tell me the truth, honey. Did he get the thing, honey? Honey, did he get the thing?
Yes, Daddy, I thought it was you.
You thought it was me, you lousy little bitch. She thought it was me. Song must have been the same size I am. It ain't but one king of the jungle, and that's the lion. I was out in the jungle one day, and the big lion was walking through the jungle, and he knew that he was the king, and he run up on a snake crawling in the grass, and he grabbed the snake by the tail and said, who's the king of the jungle? The snake said, you are, Mr. Lion, you are. Just turn me loose and I'll crawl away. And then he went on down a little bit further. He grabbed the eagle by the tail and said, who's the king of the jungle? The eagle said, you are, Mr. Lion. You are. Just turn me loose and I'll fly away. Go on down a little bit further. He grabs a great big elephant. The elephant grabs him back, wraps his trunk around his neck and throws him down and starts choking him and stomping him. And the lion broke it loose and said, you didn't have to be so nasty just because you didn't know the answer. I remember my first big job. First job I ever had, I was working over in Tijuana. I'll never forget, I first got over there. I didn't know nobody over there in Tijuana. I was riding down the street, and I seen a great big sign across the street saying, 5 gals for $1. I rushed my car right in there. No sooner I got in there, the fella said, should I fill her up? Only reason I didn't stay there and talk with him no longer, I seen another sign says, use Ethel and you'll come out a lot cheaper. That didn't move me either because I spotted one of my old favorite signs all the way across the street. Say, use Hancock. It can't be beat. It's more fastened. It's got more zip. Really, that Hancock gasoline will move you when no other kind will. Yeah, I'm telling you, I ran into a nice old girl over there. I was going with her. We was messing around with each other. One night she asked me, she said, Daddy, can I get up and go out and enjoy myself and have a good time? I said, well, honey, go on out and have a good time. I said, I'll never be too tight on a woman. So she went out, and when she come back home, it was about 5 o'clock in the morning. And I was mad and disgusted. And I didn't say one word. I jumped up out of the bed and grabbed her in the collar and drew back to hit her. And just as I drew back to hit her, she placed her hand on my head and started rubbing my head. I know what she was rubbing my head for. I drew further back, and she just kept on rubbing my head. Do you know my old lady rubbed my head until I come to the conclusion that I wasn't going to fight her at all? Yeah, I had to change my mind. I just couldn't do nothing with her. Yeah, I'm telling you, a lot of things that's happening nowadays. A fella lived next door to me. He drank all the time. I ain't never seen a man drink like that. I went home the other night, and he was so drunk walking all around, staggered up on the porch and put his key in the door. When he turned the key, the door came open. He said, yeah, I know I'm in the right house because this key I got just opened this door. And he walked around a little bit further in the house. He said, I know I'm in the right house now because there's that great big old beautiful drizzle I just bought from my old lady. And he ended up in the bedroom. Said, I told you I was in the right house because there's my old lady laying over there in the bed. Look at that. I know I'm in the right house now because there I am laying over there in the bed with her. Now I got to figure out who in the devil is here standing up here talking. And I live on the other end of town down there, better section of Los Angeles. And I got a nice room down there overlooking the rent. I live right in front of a bank. And just the other day, I heard a whole lot of shooting and gunfire all around my house. And I jumps up and I looks out the window to find out what's happening. And I seen all them people all gathered up down there. When I went down there, well, same time I walked up, they had one little odd fella. He walked up in the crowd, too. And when he walked up, he looked down on the ground. He see a man laying down in a pool of blood. He said, my, what a handsome fella lying down there on the ground. What happened to him? And that was one of them old hip cats that had seen the whole scene. He tried to explain it to him. He said, well, look, Daddy, you see that cat laying down there on the ground? He tried to rob that bank over there. And he pointed to the two policemen with the smoking guns and said, one of them big dicks killed him. The cat jumped straight up and said, oh, God, what a lovely way to die. I started to go to church about 2 weeks ago. And while I was sitting in the church house, one man got up and he wanted to join church. He wanted to be baptized right away. And so they taking him out there, and it was real cold. It was in the wintertime and everything. It was so cold until the ground had ice on it. And they taking the fella out there, and the preacher got ready to baptize, and they dipped him down in the water, and it was real cold. The preacher said, do you believe? And the man came up and said, he said, do you believe? He said, he dipped him down one more time and said, do you believe? He said, yeah, I believe you're trying to drown the devil out of me. I left from there and went on down on the corner and seen a cat standing down on the corner. He was smoking a cigarette and bending all over, touching his toes and everything. And he stooped down there and one of them cigarettes blowed up like to bust his right eye wide open. When he raised back up, I said, mister, could you tell me which way Central Avenue is? He said, Daddy, don't ask me nothing. And the cat was standing up there loaded as he could be. He had a knife in his right hand, a gun in his left hand. I said, well, why is it that you stand up here and smoke on that cigarette like that? Got a knife in your right hand, a gun in your left hand. He said, well, Daddy, I'm so loaded that I don't know whether to shoot across the street or cut around the corner. I met an old girl at a nightclub the other night and taking her home. And now while I was taking her home, I was driving around. I ended up real out here in Watts somewhere on a great big old vacant lot out there. That's where I stopped at. The minute I stopped the car out there, she looked out the window and said, man, what you stopping out here on this great big old vacant lot like this here for? I turned around and looked at her like she was crazy. I said, baby, I come out here to talk about the hereafter. Woman looked at me and said, man, what old hereafter? I said, woman, you know what the devil I'm here after. I said, if you ain't here after what I'm here after, you be here after I'm gone, I bet you. You know, I used to be a fighter a long time ago, but I give boxing up. Really, the fight gang is all right, but I give it up. I found out there was too many ups in it. I never will forget one day a fella come walking down the street with a derby on his head. He come walking up. Before I know it, he signed me up. Right after that, he takes me to a nice hotel room and he puts me up. And come knocking on my door early the next morning, he woke me up. And then he takes me out on the road, and that's where he trains me up. And right after that, he brings me back to the manager and says, yeah, he is. Do you think he'll make a good setup? I didn't know what setup meant until after the mess up. No sooner I got in the ring, I got a great big hand. Right in the mouth. I can still hear that referee hollering, get up and go wash up, because you all messed up. That's the reason I give fighting up. It was just too many ups in it. My best buddy and I was up on top of the Empire State Building the other day smoking dope. We was up there getting high, and we smoked about 3 joints apiece. And I turned around and light up another, and I turned around and looked at my buddy, and he was flying off the top of the building. Right away, the police officer came up there and hollered, what happened up here? I said, well, officer, it was just like this, way. I said, my buddy and I was up here smoking dope, and he wanted to bet me $2 that he could fly out the window, make a U-turn, and fly back in again. The officer would say, well, fool, why didn't you stop him? I said, officer, I was so high I thought he could make it. A wino friend of mine taking a shortcut through a graveyard the other day, and he was on his way home, and while he was going through the graveyard, well, he slipped and fell down an open grave, and he was down in that hole hollering, help, it's cold down here. Help, it's cold down here. And right at that time, another drunk was staggering through the graveyard, and the drunk looked down there in the hole, and he hollering, help, it's cold down here. The drunk said, you should be cold. You dead son of a gun, you done kicked all the dirt off of you.